Tonight, an important message from Pope Francis to America's bishops about the sexual abuse crisis. Hi, I'm Michelle Powers. Liz Faublas is off. The Holy Father is delivering advice to bishops who are now secluded in prayerful retreat about the scandals. National correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, breaks down what Francis is saying.
In a landmark 8-page letter to U.S. bishops, Pope Francis told the religious leaders to stop pointing fingers and to lead on abuse through collegial spiritual fatherhood. The letter was given to the bishops at the start of yesterday's unprecedented week-long retreat at Chicago's Mundelein Seminary, where the Pope sharply criticized the loss of credibility of the U.S. hierarchy over both sexual abuse and its cover-up. The letter strikes a different tone from when Pope Francis spoke to the U.S. bishops in person over 3 years ago during his 2015 visit to the U.S.
As I look out with affection at you, their pastors, I would like to embrace all the local churches over which you exercise loving responsibility.
In the wake of this summer's devastating revelations of former Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, who for decades assaulted seminarians, and at least in one case a minor, and the release of an August Pennsylvania grand jury report chronicling 7 decades of abuse of more than 1,000 individuals, the leadership of the U.S. Church has struggled to regain its footing.
Thank you so much for receiving us.
During a September meeting with a delegation from the U.S. bishops at the Vatican, Francis suggested the retreat as the necessary first step to healing and restoring trust. In his letter, the Pope specifically warned against having a business mindset where bishops view themselves as mere administrators, writing, "The loss of credibility cannot be regained by issuing stern decrees or simply creating new committees or improving flowcharts as if we were in charge of a Department of Human Resources." Francis went on to heed, pastors must be willing to listen and learn from their mistakes and not to act defensively as a necessary step for reconciliation, both among one another and with the larger flock. Over the next 6 days, the U.S. bishops will hear meditations from the Pope's preacher to the papal household, Father Enero Cantalamessa. The retreat, which is largely being held in silence, will conclude next Tuesday.
Christopher joins us now. The Pope's letter is strong in condemning sexual abuse and its cover-up, Chris. But what specifics does the Pope offer about what comes next?
Well, the Pope in this letter says in order to address the sexual abuse crisis, you really have to have a unified body of bishops. So first, he wants sort of a spiritual purging of their own lives and their own ministries so that they can better care for their flock. So I think that what comes next is it's a personal reflection.
But he also speaks about the issue of unity as well, that it goes among the bishops, it goes beyond the issue of sex abuse. What does he mean by that, about unity?
Yeah, the Pope has some really impassioned passages in this letter where he talks about, cultural and social sort of fabrics of our society are unraveling. And if the bishops want to have any moral credibility in the public square, they've got to get their own house in order, not just on sex abuse, but collectively.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Bishop DiMarzio is applauding the Pope's letter as an expression of his fraternal support for the bishops during their retreat. He says, quote, "Pope Francis recognizes the loss of credibility that the Church has suffered because of the sexual abuse crisis and encourages us not only to find practical ways of restoring credibility, but also by doing this through a renewal of our spiritual lives." The bishop adds, quote, "The letter of Pope Francis is a letter that all members of the Church should study." The letter in English and Spanish is available at usccb.org/Francis. Over the past 4 months, dioceses across the U.S. have released names of more than 1,000 priests and others accused of sexually abusing children in cases that span decades. In the latest instance, the Diocese of Monterey is publishing 30 names involved in abuse allegations that date back to the 1950s. Parishioners are saying the release is a positive move.
It's not more what they did to them. It's the healing process that they can move on, that justice is being done.
The diocese says there have been no credible allegations of sexual misconduct there since 2009. The Pope's top 8, Cardinal Pietro Parolin, is saying tonight the Church must do, quote, even the impossible to beat back the abuse crisis. He's the Vatican Secretary of State, and the Church has made progress against the scandal, but hasn't always achieved perfect results. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops established what is known as the Dallas Charter in 2002 to combat and prevent sexual abuse. Some of the measures include creating the Office of Victim Assistance to help individuals who come forward with allegations of abuse. The office provides counseling, referrals for therapy, and other important resources. Every employee of the Diocese of Brooklyn, including students, undergoes mandatory training designed to spot the signs of abuse and how to stop it. Bishop DiMarzio meets with survivors and listens to them carefully. One result of these talks is the annual Mass of Hope and Healing in the diocese. The diocese also has a toll-free and confidential sexual abuse reporting line. That number is 888-634-4499. And for more information, go to the Diocese of Brooklyn's website, dioceseofbrooklyn.org, and click on Protecting Our Children.